Hi, welcome to my series on living off the grid. I think one of the most important things of living off the grid is having water. So that's where we're going to start today. Without water, there wouldn't be life at all. Without waters, there wouldn't be trees, there wouldn't be oxygen to breathe. If you've got a water hole on your property, if it's big enough you can have fish in it. You can use it for watering the garden. You can even use it for water for the house. It will attract wildlife. If you've got stock, then you're going to need water anyway, but unless you've got enough ground and enough water, stock sooner or later are going to run out. Wildlife is probably your best bet. It's on the move all the time. If you've got a water hole, it will attract the wildlife. So that's a good place to start. If you can afford to put one in, if you haven't already got one, put in a good sized dam. This one behind me here is what we call cattail pond. It has cattails growing all around it. Cattails supply us with a food all year round, and of course it has fish in it. Try not to get too stuck on the idea of what you like when it comes to eating fish, especially if it's a game fish like trout. Trout are not going to breed in static water, but catfish will. Okay, we'll move on from here. This is the house we're living in now, called Linstock. Further up the hill we've got Elm Cottage that we used to live in. We have garden sheds, gardens down here with raised edges, 1,000-gallon water tank. Still working on the gardens. It's everything's still just starting to come up now, as you can see. We have a variety in here of foods, beans, zucchinis, silver beet. This silver beet's starting to run to seed now, but it's kept us supplied all through winter. Jerusalem artichoke bed. These again will keep us in food summer and winter. Once they're planted, they're there for good, unless you let the animals get at them and dig them up. Potatoes. We don't normally put in a plot of potatoes as they're fairly cheap to buy, but we're looking towards supplying all our own food from now on if we can. As you can see, some of the garden beds we actually what we call box. We cover them in cardboard and mulch. This one still needs more mulch on top. That will suppress all the weeds, and we plant down through the cardboard. And just at the end there we have some lettuce growing. Rhubarb patch. Always the first fruit to show when spring comes around. And you can see this is already to pick and use. Compost heaps I think are essential. For feeding the garden. These two here really need turfing out now. It's got a lot of heavy stuff in there which is going to take a long time to break down. So it either needs breaking up and putting into the bins properly, or getting rid of altogether. This one here is about ready for turning, and the one next to it is already broken down considerably. Pumpkin patch, which usually does fairly well. You can see we're using plastic drink bottles for cloches. Just in case there are any late frosts. And this was planted through cardboard last year, but most of that's broken down. Grass and weeds need cutting and put into the compost. We don't put an awful lot of labour into the garden, but we still seem to get plenty of food out of it. One day, of course, we will get into this and really go through it. But it's been so wet lately that we just haven't got round to doing it, and weeds seem to grow faster than anything else once you get the rain. One of two 5,000 gallon water tanks, cement. There's the other water tank up the hill. Another 5,000 gallon cement water tank. That one feeds direct to the house. We have a pump connected here, pumping water up to the top tank from the bottom one. But if we should run out of fuel at any time in the future, or it should break down, then we can, there are manhole covers, manholes on the actual top of each tank, and of course there are taps, so we can take the water out from the bottom of the tank and take it up to the top tank and pour it in.